The story begins in a sandy desert, where Prince Arnold is getting ready to take down a massive minotaur all by himself. But right at that moment, his butler named Sebas stops him to deliver some serious news, informing him that General Dominic is dead. Arnold immediately asks whether the general was assassinated or not, but Sebas admits that the details surrounding his death are still unclear. Sebas also says he doubts anyone will even bother requesting an investigation to find out who might be responsible for the killing. Setting that topic aside for a moment, Sebas notices that Arnold is holding his adventurer mask in his hand, and he asks Arnold why he's carrying it around, since there's not even a single other person nearby to see him. Arnold explains that it's simply a precaution, because he knows exactly what kind of chaos would happen if people ever discovered that Prince Arnold has secretly been pretending to be an adventurer this whole time. Sebas warns Arnold that he really should stop playing adventurer, since it's an extremely risky hobby for someone in his position. But Arnold simply reminds Sebas that he's already widely known throughout the kingdom as the Insipid Prince, mostly because his younger brother ended up absorbing all of the family's natural talent. Since that's already how people see him, Arnold says he might as well just do whatever he wants. With that said, he puts his mask on and introduces himself under his secret alias called Silver, the SS rank adventurer, using his ancient magic. He takes down the giant minotaur in only a matter of seconds. Silver then makes his way back to the imperial capital and heads straight over to the adventurer guild. Everyone inside is left completely shocked the moment he drops a minotaur horn onto the counter, proving that he managed to defeat the creature entirely on his own. The receptionist happily hands Silver his bounty reward and tells him how glad she is that one of the 5 SS rank adventurers in the entire kingdom is stationed at this particular branch. Silver simply asks the receptionist to give him top priority whenever a difficult task comes up next, and then he drops some coins on the counter so she and the other adventurers nearby can go grab themselves a quick drink. After that, Arnold takes off his mask, opens up a magic portal, and heads straight back to the royal palace, where he resumes his everyday duties as the so-called Insipid Prince. Arnold is then shown in a meeting with his twin brother Leonard, where the two of them discuss how General Dominic managed to die so suddenly. They're both fairly certain that someone assassinated him, but neither of them has any idea who could be responsible, and they both agree that launching a full investigation right now would probably cause more harm than good. Given the dangerous position they've now been put in, Arnold tells Leonard that he's going to need to actively fight for the throne, or else the two of them could end up dead. Leonard is a bit hesitant about the idea at first, but after Arnold reminds him of all the disaster that could potentially fall upon them if they don't act, Leonard eventually agrees to go along with the plan. Arnold tells Leonard that the very first thing he needs to do is build up his own personal force so that no enemy will ever be able to threaten them again. In the meantime, Arnold says that he himself will focus on forming political alliances, even though he admits they probably won't be all that strong, since most of the powerful noble families are already locked into one of the 3 existing factions. Hearing just how calm and collected Arnold manages to stay while dealing with such serious problems makes Leonard start to think that Arnold might actually be more suited for the role of king than he himself is. But Arnold insists that he's honestly not that kind of person at all. He simply wants to live out the rest of his life in peace and leisure alongside his future beautiful wife. Besides all that, he explains that he genuinely needs Leonard to become emperor for reasons of his own. Later on, Arnold has a private conversation with Sebas, who asks him why he doesn't just reveal to everyone that he's actually one of the 5 SS rank adventurers. Arnold reminds him that using ancient magic has been considered a serious taboo among the nobility for many years, so revealing that fact would only bring about unnecessary conflict that he simply doesn't have the time to deal with right now. If Arnold were to be exposed as Silver, then people would also learn that he's been secretly using ancient magic this entire time, which would end up being very bad for Leonard's chances of becoming emperor. Setting that concern aside, Arnold then asks Sebas whether there happen to be any duke families out there who aren't currently interested in competing for the throne. Sebas answers that there's only one such family, the Kleinert family. Arnold assumes there has to be some kind of reason why they've been staying so silent during a time like this. Sebas explains that it's because their territory has recently been exposed to a dangerous monster, so the family has been far too busy dealing with that crisis to worry about politics. dukes. Arnold considers the idea of having Silver help the Kleinert family escape from that dangerous predicament in order to put them in his debt, but Sebas doesn't recommend the plan since it could very easily end up revealing the secret connection between Arnold and Silver. But Arnold isn't worried in the slightest, because he knows that all he really needs to do is be careful. With that decided, he suits up in his adventurer outfit and prepares to go pay a visit to the Duke of the Kleinert family. But before he leaves, Sebas warns Arnold about the Duke's daughter and her unparalleled beauty, urging him not to let himself get blinded by her looks. Arnold simply tells Sebas to relax, since he's not the type of person who gets easily carried away by that sort of thing. He then puts on his mask and opens a portal that takes him directly to the Kleinert family mansion. However, one of the Duke's sons takes a single look at him and refuses to believe that he's the real Silver. Silver attempts to pull out his guild card as proof, but the son tells him not to even bother and demands that he leave the premises immediately. Silver prepares to leave, but right before he does, he catches a brief glimpse of the Duke's daughter and privately admits to himself that she really is just as beautiful as everyone says. Arnold returns back home, and Sebas is surprised at just how quickly he managed to come back already. Arnold explains exactly what happened during his visit, and says that he's planning to return to the mansion once again, but this time as Prince Arnold instead of as Silver, so that the Duke will be forced to actually listen to him. 5 days later, Arnold arrives at the Kleinert mansion and has a private one-on-one conversation with the Duke. After exchanging the usual formal greetings, Arnold gets straight down to business and tells the Duke that he's fully aware of the monster problem currently plaguing his territory. Arnold explains that this is exactly the reason why he had Leonard send out the legendary SS rank adventurer Silver to come take care of the situation. And yet, despite all of that, Arnold tells the Duke that he still refused to repay that debt by siding with them in their race for the throne. The Duke insists that he had absolutely no idea Silver had ever visited his mansion earlier, and he begs Arnold for forgiveness while promising to personally investigate the matter. The moment the Duke leaves the room, a smug grin spreads across Arnold's face as he realizes that everything went exactly according to plan. The fact that someone from this household chased Silver away will only end up putting the Duke even further in their debt. Arnold acknowledges that it was a dirty and manipulative move, but he honestly doesn't mind dirtying his own reputation a little, if it means giving Leonard's chances a meaningful boost. About 10 minutes later, the Duke comes back into the room, this time bringing his son along with him, and apologizes profusely to Arnold, explaining that it was actually his own son who had sent Silver away earlier. The son tries to argue that he had absolutely no way of knowing that the real Silver would ever show up at their mansion, but the Duke simply tells him to be quiet and stop making the situation any worse than it already is. The Duke then tries offering one of his sons to Arnold as a formal apology gift, but Arnold flatly refuses, saying he has no need for him or his useless son. The only thing that would truly count as a worthy apology gift, he says, is something that holds real value to both himself and his brother Leonard. At that point, the Duke's daughter, Finn, suddenly steps forward out of nowhere and offers herself up as the apology gift instead. She explains that she was present when Silver was sent away, so she considers herself just as guilty as everyone else involved. Seeing just how far the family is willing to go to make amends, Sebas suggests that Arnold simply overlook the whole incident this one time. Arnold is initially reluctant to just let it go, since doing so would allow their family's disrespect to go unpunished. However, after Sebas reminds him that harshly punishing them isn't something Leonard would ever normally choose to do, and that going against that kind of reputation could seriously damage his standing, Arnold changes his mind. Instead, he asks the Duke to send someone out right away to track down Silver, saying that he'll speak with him about the matter directly. A couple of hours later, Arnold and Finn somehow find themselves standing face to face with Silver, who lets them know exactly how angry he still is about being sent away from the mansion 5 days earlier, though Silver admits that he's still willing to take on the extermination quest. He first asks Arnold whether he's managed to secure a deal that brings the Duke firmly onto their side. Arnold admits that he hasn't struck the deal just yet, but assures him it will happen very soon. Hearing this makes Silver call Arnold the Insipid Prince once again, mocking just how incompetent he seems compared to his own younger brother. Arnold proceeds to reassure Silver once more that everything will definitely get sorted out, and he even goes so far as to bow his head to Silver, which catches Finn completely off guard, since it's practically unheard of for a member of the royal family to bow to someone who isn't even a noble. Seeing how easily Arnold is willing to swallow his pride, Silver finally agrees to take on the monster extermination quest. However, he reminds Finn that they're all counting on the Duke to keep his end of the bargain, since he wouldn't be taking on the quest otherwise. After the meeting comes to an end, Sebas praises Arnold for using illusion magic to create a convincing false image of Silver, calling the whole plan absolute genius. Arnold is simply relieved that everything worked out, since Finn is now completely convinced that what she witnessed was the real thing. Later, on the ride back home, Finn thanks Arnold for bowing his head to Silver on her behalf. She admits that she originally expected him to be someone full of pride and arrogance, but it seems she was mistaken about him. Arnold tries to play the whole thing off, insisting that he only did it for his own personal benefit, but when he looks over at Finn and sees the bright and cute smile on her face, it suddenly reminds him of a distant memory from his childhood, back when he was watching a meteor shower together with his mother. Later that day, Arnold and Sebas are standing together on the mountain, and Sebas asks Arnold whether seeing Finn's smile just now managed to rekindle that same sense of joy he once felt as a child. Arnold simply tells Sebas to be quiet about it. After that exchange, Arnold suddenly starts to notice that the desert around them is absolutely littered with slimes. Sebas explains that another adventure party was recently deployed to handle this exact area, and they've clearly been quite busy dealing with the infestation. Arnold can already tell that there are this many slimes because the mother slime keeps continuously birthing more of them, meaning the swarm is never going to stop unless someone manages to take out the source itself. Arnold immediately transforms into Silver and goes to meet up with the adventurer party, where he's introduced to their leader, a man named Abel. The party members instantly recognize Silver as one of the famously rare SS rank adventurers. Silver asks them whether they've officially been assigned to handle this particular situation, and one of the party members speaks up, explaining that they simply haven't been able to land a fatal blow against the mother slime, since they clearly lack the firepower needed to finish the job, which is why they've been retreating instead. Silver offers to take on the quest himself, but he can clearly sense that Abel's party is hesitant, since they'd rather handle the situation entirely on their own. However, Silver warns them that if they insist on going down that particular road, he'll simply report the matter to the Adventurers Guild and have it listed as an emergency request, which would allow him to accept the quest anyway, meaning there's really no point in them trying to deny him access to it. Abel sees the logic in Silver's argument and agrees to let him handle the mother slime personally. Silver commends Abel for not letting greed get the better of his judgment, and then walks off to go take care of the slime infestation himself. Silver begins casting his powerful ancient magic and manages to wipe out every single slime, including the mother slime itself, in one single destructive blow. Abel and the rest of his party are absolutely stunned to witness ancient magic being used in person for the very first time, but before any of them can even think to ask him about it, Silver simply opens up a portal and leaves the area entirely. Silver eventually arrives back home and removes his mask, completely unaware that Finn has been standing there the entire time in shock, meaning that his once secret identity isn't a secret anymore. That was episode 1. Subscribe to not miss the next part and watch the next video on screen. I heard that you addicted to them sands now, girl. Go ahead with your slippy ass. Go ahead. Shawty, give me a reason. You know that I'm leaving.